Yeah. Good evening and welcome to Taub Zuzuki. I'm just going to talk like y'all are here and see if anyone shows up this evening. I know it's late and I know this might not be the best time, but in case anybody shows up, this entire live is meant to be an opportunity for y'all to ask me any questions that you may have questions about regarding your situation, your journey, your path, whatever that means for you. If you're going through a rediscovery or a spiritual awakening or just your experience. I figure based on the content that I share here on this channel, and especially now that I am offering digital one-on-one sessions through Zoom or Google Meet or anything like that, whatever the platform needs to be, just to discuss your situation, whatever you're comfortable sharing about, giving you my perspective, sharing my experience along my journey with you. Those are available, and I figured this would be a good way to represent and show and demonstrate what those are kind of like. So, if anyone joins me here, feel free to ask any question you may have that you're curious about or maybe you're struggling with. I am thumbing through a book that is really not something you can sit down and read in entirety all at once or in a short amount of time. It's a lot that you have to actually digest, or should, but I do recommend it. And again, I'll show it to you. Stillness Speaks. I think I showed this in a previous live, and this is a great book. The topics that are in here and the way that they're broken up into these smaller sections. Chapter 4 is the now, and they're divided up into these cool smaller bits that are easier to process. You're not trying to actually digest a whole chapter. You can read through 1 or 2 pages and reflect on it for yourself. I highly recommend it if you're going through any type of rediscovery journey for yourself, trying to bridge that gap from the person you've been that may not necessarily feel genuine to who you feel like inside here. Chapter 4 is where I left off. And chapter 4 leads into chapter 5 of who you truly are. And I think that that's a really beautiful topic because, well, that was one of the biggest struggles that I had at the beginning of my journey. At the beginning of what I was seeking to find that set me out onto here to share my experience with y'all. I had all these ideas, these preconceived notions of what the world expected from me, but that didn't necessarily align with what I was feeling in here. But this all felt so jumbled from years and years of not listening to it, not seeing myself or listening to myself for what I was saying or who I was. That simply establishing the idea of who I truly was wasn't very easy. I would definitely recommend this book. Now, I'm not going to. Hey, Rachel. Glad you stopped in. So far, you're the only customer for the evening. I was actually just thumbing through the book I was showing you earlier and kind of touching on that. I cannot believe you are still awake, as a matter of fact. You're a trooper. It's the Eckhart Tolle book that I showed you earlier when we were talking. I'm about to actually get into chapter 5. And chapter 5 starts out, or chapter 5 is, I'll show you who you truly are. You know, one of my favorite bits of this, actually, it's funny you say that because I was just reading through this at the tail end of chapter 4. Let me go back to it. One of my favorite parts in chapter 4 is at the end of it. But it says, when you step into the now, you step out of the content of your mind. The incessant stream of thinking slows down. Thoughts don't absorb all your attention anymore and don't draw you in totally. Gaps arise in between thoughts, spaciousness, and stillness. You begin to realize how much vaster and deeper you are than your thoughts. That was something that I struggled with for a really long time, earlier on in this experience. I was constantly kind of feeling like I had to subject myself to some type of response to those thoughts, and that there had to be some type of action, that was attributed to the next thing just because I thought or felt something. When you step into the now, you step out of the content of your mind. The incessant stream of thinking slows down. Thoughts don't absorb all your attention anymore and don't draw you in totally. Gaps arise in between thoughts, spaciousness, stillness. You begin to realize how much vaster and deeper you are than your thoughts. It's one of my favorite parts of chapter 4. It's like on the second to last page. And it actually ends out chapter 4 with, I am not my thoughts, emotions, sense perceptions, and experiences. I am not the content of my life. I am life. I am the space in which all things happen. I am consciousness. I am the now. I am. I think it's a really great way to lead that out and lead into who you truly are. But I'm not going to try and digest chapter 5, or at least start it at the moment. I've had this book for like 4 or 5 months, and I could only work through small bits and pieces of it because each one I think deserves like a decent amount of reflection. Just because they're short bits, but it's a lot to digest. It's kind of like if you've ever cracked open, Joseph Campbell's Hero of a Thousand Faces. That's such a heavy content book, and not by any means like heavy. It's not bad. It's not hard to read in the tone of what's there, but it's a lot to digest. Hero of a Thousand Faces is a great read, but it is a lot to soak in. So you think you can only really take it in small doses. If I do have another viewer, it doesn't show me, and you're welcome to say hi, mystery person. It's nonfiction. Hero of a Thousand Faces is Joseph Campbell's interpretation of the context breakdown, the mythology of religion, not just across Christian religion, but across the history of religion, and then the common themes and how they relate to each other, and the archetypes that it maps out for really what's happening across the board, unilaterally, across the message within religion. It's a great read, and I can honestly only admit that I've only read the beginning portions of it, but it is a great book. It's just a lot to soak in. And I figured here, you would probably dig it based on our conversation, some of the stuff we've emailed about, I think you would appreciate what's in that book, Hero of a Thousand Faces. So I'd say definitely look into it. I've considered maybe looking into the audio version on like Audible or something like that. That might be worth checking out just because, you know, just have to listen to it instead. And I mean, it's a big old book, but it could be cool content. You know, I went to church today. It's not really so much church, but it's like a spiritual congregation, I suppose. And I took notes. Joseph Campbell, hero of a thousand faces. Did you ever go to church and taken notes? But again, I wouldn't really call it church. It's more just a spiritual experience, I suppose. Spiritual topics. But the topic today, which I thought was actually kind of funny based on the video I posted yesterday talking about love. The topic was about love. Um, oh, you just don't worry about these. I'll read them. The topic they talked about was love, and they used the Bob Marley song "Could You Be Love" as a reference. I wrote this question down for myself to reflect on, and I was actually really curious. I haven't written down my reflection for it, but the question I wrote down was, what does the wholeness of love look like for me? And then the secondary question I wrote down was, am I allowing myself to give and receive that wholeness of love freely? That's a lot for me. You know, I have this idea of what I believe love is for myself and what I show the world. But am I allowing myself to give and receive that wholeness of love freely? That's a great question. I will have to reflect on that. I wrote two more questions, or one more question and one statement. The additional question on my church notes today. Yeah, I'll read all three of them actually. You want me to start at the top, Rachel? Let's just do that. So, with the topic of the sermon being love and using Bob Marley's song "Could You Be Loved" as the reference. All right, so you got the first one. The second question I wrote is, am I allowing myself to give and receive that wholeness of love freely? Then the third question I wrote that goes along with that is, am I living within integrity to my inner and highest self? The last note I wrote was, wholeness of love will only align with my authentic and true higher self. Those were my observations and reflections from church today. Number two or the third one? I'll wait till you answer. I should probably like speak and then look too. Okay. Am I allowing myself to give and receive that wholeness of love freely? And if you need three again, just let me know. Kind of doing the like camera one, camera two, camera one. All right. Question three. Am I living within integrity to my inner or highest self? What I'll actually probably do is reflect on these, and these will probably become videos. These will probably become shorts or maybe longer format videos that'll go up on the channel within the next few days, depending on how long it takes me to digest these and kind of ruminate on how I feel about them. But the last one, do you want that last, just the note that I had for it, Rachel? You want that as well? What's your idea? You've got my attention. Well, I mean, it does show I've got a second person in here. Hello, whoever my second subscriber is that's in here. Thank you for joining us. So the note was that wholeness of love will only align with my authentic, true, higher self. That's just my note, I guess, reflecting on those questions. But I don't have answers for them yet. But yeah, I'll probably turn them into a video, or maybe 3 separate videos. We'll see. But actually, now that I've asked those, and I'll actually put them in the comment section after this, maybe for when this pops up to be viewed later. I'll put those 3 questions in there. I'd be interested if I'm down. If you want to do that, I think that'd be a great idea. I'd like to see what your take on it is, Rachel. And when I have answers to these, I'll post mine. But I'd be interested to see anybody that sees this after the fact, even after it's no longer live. I'll post these questions in the comments. And if anybody wants to share what their take on it is, what my 3 notes, questions are from church today, what that means to you, that'd be cool. I think it'd be interesting if y'all shared it. This is kind of like something I'd like to turn into a community, and I try and treat this like kind of a safe space for folks to allow themselves or grant themselves a little bit of space. Correct, it is a non-denominational church. It's really like probably the only variety of church that I could find myself in. They deal more in speaking on a lot of spiritual awareness and knowledge as opposed to just having it be from a biblical sense. They do tie in a Christian biblical theme in some portions of it. It depends on who's there each Sunday, but it's not their like complete theme. It varies depending on what they're talking about for the week. But they're doing a series talking about love, and they're using songs, music from popular culture over the past probably 20 or 30 years. They're picking one out each week and talking about it. Today happened to be Bob Marley. We'll see what it is next week. I'll probably have more notes. Maybe you'll bring it up in another live. I saw the song that you've got on your channel, Rachel. That was cool. You wrote that when you were in college? When you were going to university? I'm terrible about this delay. I'm also terrible about the fact that this is live, and like, I made a video joking about this the other day, but like, there's a moment from like the Talladega Nights with Will Ferrell. I don't know what to do with my hands. I don't necessarily know what to do with my person, so I'm kind of shifty. You haven't done anything with the song? It's just kind of lingering. You've got notes on it. Would it be something you would have played on piano? I realized that was 2 questions back to back. Maybe I should have waited. Well, that's a relief. That's a relief. Thank you. Good to know. Actually, since I'm here and I'm sharing stuff that I've got, you did record it? It wouldn't be a piano song? I had somebody years ago when I lived in Texas. Well, it's sad. I'm sorry. Do you have a copy of the recording? I'm not smiling at that. I'm smiling at the fact that I'm thinking camera one, camera two in my head because I'm not sure which way to look, but I'm unboxing something at the moment. So, as I was saying, when I was living in Texas, I had a, okay. But did you get copies of the recordings? My old employer, my old employer's wife. No, okay, okay. I track now, and I follow now. My old employer's wife, when I lived in Texas, um, was really big into tarot, and as a going away present to me, she gave me one of her favorite artists' tarot decks. I'm by no means a tarot reader. I am intrigued by tarot, but I'm not a reader. But I was recently in a store, um, and they had this Lord of the Rings tarot deck, this Lord of the Rings themed tarot deck. And I'm too much of a sucker for Lord of the Rings and for tarot to not have bought it. So now I've got it. And first off, they're incredible. Like the art is awesome. Um, and that's just the back of the card. But they're beautiful. I mean, as far as I can tell. And maybe that's just my opinion, but like that's the Ace of Swords. And like here's the Hierophant. And what's cool is if you're a Lord of the Rings nerd like I am, you thumb through all these cards looking to guess the characters because some of them, with the art, it's an artist's rendition, so they don't necessarily jump out at you unless you're paying attention to the details that surround them. Like you've got the King of Rings, which is actually Saruman, the white wizard that's actually gone evil and is working in collaboration or cooperation with Sauron. And Gandalf has to take him down. I can't believe I'm reciting some of the Lord of the Rings at the moment. Anyways, I just thought I would share that because these are really cool. And I have no idea what I'm going to do with them. But they're here. Obviously, I've only showed you like 3 out of a deck of 72. Even the box is incredible. Like, the art on the boxes. You don't? I mean, I say that like I'm very aghast. I should. If you've read The Hobbit, you've got the bulk of it. You've got the bulk of it. You just, you get a dragon instead of like the One Ring, because the One Ring is in The Hobbit, but it's not the main theme. You get the dragon that they have to slay instead. Anyways, don't get me started on Lord of the Rings, or I guess rather I shouldn't get myself started on it. Hey, I think it's an incredible read. Regardless, maybe if you had some downtime, that is a cool card. It's the lovers. I have a lovers keychain that it's actually like my favorite keychain. No slaying of dragons. It's my favorite keychain, but I don't carry it because it's carved out of wood and it gets damaged. My keys hit it, so now I'm like got all this sentimental value attached to it. So I just keep it. I guess maybe I should have just dubbed this like a late night rambling session, because that's kind of what I'm doing. But I guess it's kind of like a behind the curtain of Oz. What I do here, what this space looks like. Of course, I would drop those. I saw some of the dragons in some of the art you showed me in that video, which was cool. I don't know if you can hear that, but there's a helicopter flying over, and it's beautiful outside, so my windows are open. So if that's loud, I apologize. It's like the slowest moving helicopter ever. This is the guidebook that goes with the cards, which opens up like a map. I mean, nobody in their right mind folds a map. Everybody rolls a map. Let's not go there. Let's not do that. Let's not talk about proper handling of mythological maps that don't even actually exist. Either way. Let's see if I can put this back in the box without messing it up. Cool. Well, it's coming up on 10:30, my time. I cannot believe you are still awake, Rachel. It was really good getting to talk to you earlier today. And I'm amazed you're still awake. But I'm probably going to wrap this up around 10:30. Just wanted to get a feel for if folks wanted to stop by and I guess get kind of a behind the scenes of what I'm like. Not just these little 3-minute bursts. And if anybody did have questions, I'll probably do another one of these. I just got to pick a better time. That's it, right? I got to pick a better time because, I don't know. I guess this is when I'm most animated. But this is also when I have to kind of rein things in and get ready to call it a night. So I can go do some other stuff in the morning. I do appreciate that Rachel and my mystery viewer have stopped by. This is awesome. Thank you. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, this was something where I intended to kind of share a glimpse with folks of what a one-on-one session with me is like. If anyone wanted to ask any questions or share anything that they wanted insights on. And I'll try an earlier time. Maybe I can align this a little bit better later on. I'm going to be doing more of these. This channel is going to hopefully grow quite a bit more in the coming 10 weeks or so. This was fun. Maybe I should pick more props that I can, I have Halloween decorations. Like maybe this is too carefree of me. I don't know, but this is kind of like my nature. So, and I just kind of let it roll. It's fun. I bought these for my kid. These little silicone finger puppets. And, I don't know, maybe I'll wear them on my hand or something. Maybe I can like curate a whole puppet show. That'd be insane. I don't know. I don't want folks to think that I'm just some face, some person just shelling out these statements, these quasi affirmations, because they're not really affirmations. I really just want to give people perspectives that I think might help them. So, this is kind of a personalized glimpse into what I'm like and what these sessions would be like. I really just kind of rambled off the rails for a second there. What else we got? We got this orange one. Lost one. I got an alien. I guess technically they're all aliens. Yeah, they're all aliens. This one's missing an antennae. Antennae? What's plural? What's singular for antenna? Is it antennae or is that plural? What's your question, Rachel? Maybe I can have my finger puppets answer the question. Feel free to ask it though. That's tricky because I could read that either way. That could be antennae or antennae. I'll have to have Google pronounce it. I kind of dig the blue one. He's like kind of doing that pharaoh dance from the 80s. That's what that makes me think of. Now, when you say describe the color blue, do you mean this blue? And no, I'm not giving you the finger. This blue or the color blue? I don't know why I'm making myself laugh with these things. The color blue in any way that I'd like to imagine it. That's a really... Let me sit with that for a second. I think blue is actually, there's a lot of range to blue. It's a really dynamic color, right? Like you get like this periwinkle shade, or baby blue. And like, then you can get these ultra deep blues. And it can be really emotive of mood. It's like this limitless kind of color, but it's like serene at the same time. Like these light blues can be so serene and so peaceful. But then the other side of that same coin is that you can get those really deep blues that are serene and peaceful also, but with this like mysterious depth to it. Blue is a really beautiful color. And I don't know if that's the type of answer you were looking for, but I think it's a really dynamically beautiful color. It has a lot of range, ranging all the way from like this really light, full of life, radiance to it, all the way up to, or across rather, to this kind of wholly consuming depth in a mysterious but like meaningful type of tone. But it's not like an impending doom type of darkness or depth to blue when it's on the deep end of it, right? It's somehow still peaceful and it's going to sound probably kind of nutty to most folks, but especially dealing and like talking about a dark color, but I find blue to be a very happy color, even on the really, really, really dark sides of it. there's nothing I feel about blue that's unhappy, which is contradictory to the fact that the blues are named the blues, and none of those songs are uplifting. That was a fun question. I understand there's not necessarily a correct or incorrect answer, but that was a cool, fun thing to ponder for a second. Thank you. See, that's the type of response I expected. Actually, like, so this is the best way that I think I could probably explain that. In my hand is this watch. This is not by any means an expensive watch. Um, but there's a ridiculous amount of sentimental value that's attached to this watch for me. Um, and it, the happiness that I feel that is associated with this watch is the happiness that I feel when I see shades of blue. But it just, I guess, relates to the context of where I see the color as far as how happy I feel. Like the watch, I'm like the happiest when it's on my wrist, but then I'm still happy when it's like on my desk as my reminder. Um, I rescind my previous answer about blue. Blue is this watch. That's my answer. Blue is this watch, and it is happiness, and I think that's cool. I'll give you one more before I go. Or if the second person that's here wants to ask, you're welcome to. And if you don't, no, blue's not time. Blue's not time. Like if I mean, but no, no, no. Even as a joke, we can entertain this. We can entertain this as time. Time's kind of like a goldenrod, like like an orangish, reddish yellow. You know, um, it's captured like at sunset and sunrise. Um, it withers with the age of leaves. Time is orange. Time is orange. Yeah, yeah. I mean, at least that's how I feel in this moment. It's kind of like my music mood. I mean, shit, that's all over the place. Pardon my language, but like, I mean, I could have a favorite song that I'll listen to 10 times in a day, and then it's my favorite song for the week. Um, and then if my mood changes like that, it's a whole different song. There's no favorite genre. There's no favorite song ever. I mean, I could never make a top 10 favorite songs because, I mean, I would go 5 minutes and then it would be top 10 favorite songs in the next 5 minutes. So, I mean, maybe I'll feel differently about what color time is tomorrow, but for right now, I'd say it's orange, like a goldenrod kind of orange. It could also be that it's just because it's fall. Fall's my favorite season. It's my all-time favorite season. Always has been, always will be. Um, Fall is my favorite time of year. Thursday is my favorite day of the week. Um, I used to have this thing, microcosm. No, I haven't. I never even heard of it. Hold on, let me Google that. I'm not like just eating the microphone. Let's Google that. There, okay, that's... Is that a praying mantis wearing sunglasses? It's Jurassic Park in your own backyard. Wait, no, but is this... Oh. User error. Let's bring that back up. No, that's not what I meant. Stop it, Google. Well, it's showing, well, here. Is it French? It's a 1996 documentary film written, directed by, I'm not going to butcher that man's name, an international co-production between France, Switzerland, Italy, and the United Kingdom. The film showcases detailed interactions between insects and other small invertebrates. If what I... Slow down. If what I've found, that's it? Okay, cool. Well, now I'm going to fall into the rabbit hole of this Wikipedia. There's no dialogue. Oh yeah, that's conveniently placed. Let's try that again. Okay, I will check this out. It might actually even be available on, and I don't know if that's really loud because I know I'm really close to that thing. It might be available on YouTube. It is available on YouTube. I can mute that. Thank you. You know what's incredible is this is from 1996. Hold on. Like the actual... like these macro shots of some of this, considering this is 1996, the quality of it is like that's an incredible shot of just... Am I allowed to do this? I apologize for asking a silly question. You know, am I allowed to stream something that's on YouTube that's probably monetized? I'm probably not supposed to do that. But I'm going to save this. I do actually really greatly appreciate your recommendation, because this would just be cool to have going in the background. But yeah, I mean, like some of these framed shots are incredible. Like that's beautiful. Here. I appreciate that recommendation. I'm gonna have to save this to my very, very long and ever-growing watch later playlist on YouTube. I'm catching up. I may have missed something you said. For copyright, no. See, that's what I thought. Yeah, I didn't know that it was that easy for me to be able to get through the chat. Like, I just have to tap the left side of my screen. I'm really green at this YouTube thing, so I apologize if the craziest, simplest stuff amazes me. So, and I'm kind of learning it as we go, right? So I'm much better in person. All right, I'm going to save this. I've got to close this. I am, now that it's what, it's quarter to 11 here where I am. I'm going to wrap this up. I'll call this an evening. I appreciate y'all joining me here, Rachel, and whoever else is here. Thank you. I genuinely mean that. This is cool. I did this recently without the subscriber only thing turned on. And I got bombarded with just most ridiculous crap that people were posting in there. So that's why I did it as subscriber only. I'm sure I could probably have more people in here right now. We'll just try a different time. And I mean, well, worst case, maybe I'll just have to moderate it, and I'll turn off subscriber only. But I appreciate y'all being here. Again, this was kind of meant to be like a peek into what it would be like to have a session with me to talk about anything that you may want to talk about. Rachel, you already know that. They are available for anybody that sees this later on. One-on-one sessions are available on my Etsy page, which is in the About section of this channel. And, well, I guess now the public's going to know just kind of how quirky I can be and what I'm actually kind of like, not just in those little 3-minute bursts, you know? Either way, thank you for being here. I'm going to call it a night. I got a long day ahead of me. Thank you again. Have a good night, Rachel. Have a good night, everybody here. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye. Yes, I'm sure.